Okay. Hi, everybody. We've established that we have a quorum. As a preliminary matter, this is Dorothy Hertz, Chair of the Contract Review Committee. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Linda?
Aye.
Veronica?
Aye.
Sue?
Aye.
Bert?
Aye.
Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Jericho?
Here.
Okay, Tamika's not on this, is she?
Tamika
Oh.
is out for vacation for right now.
Okay. There are no anticipated speakers. Good morning. This is an open meeting of the Contract Review Committee. It's being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation. Unless such participation is required by law, this meeting will not feature public comment. For this meeting of the CRC is being conveyed by video conference and is posted on the town's website identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference today. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided to members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless I note otherwise. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each, well, there will be no speakers. Please remember to mute your phone and your computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in a conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. Can I get an approval of the agenda, please?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, Linda,
Aye.
Veronica,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Bert,
Aye.
Dorothy, aye. If I am correct, the first thing on the, Jericho, would you remind me of the first thing on the agenda?
Yes, first thing on the agenda is approval agenda, then discussion of letter to Fairwinds.
Okay. And that has to do with, there was an article put out in the INM about the programs that Fairwinds is offering at the moment and what they're doing. After they presented to us, I have a little bit of difficulty with what was put in that and want it to be clarified for the town.
Can I mention that I should recuse if we're going to make?
Yes, please recuse.
Okay, thank you.
That brings up an issue because at this point with her recusal, we do not have quorum to discuss this topic.
We have Linda, we have 4 of us.
That's right, it's 4 every time.
That's
Sorry.
okay. Thank you for trying to be aware. I appreciate that. If everybody can hold on 1 second, I just have to grab it from my binder over here.
I don't know why we're responding to something that was in the paper.
Yeah, I'm going to try and pull up the article. It was the INM.
I'm gonna just give you a reason why, Linda, if you just give me 1 second, okay?
Well, just give me the rundown on what exactly was in this article that we have to respond to.
Okay, well, so the article spoke about what services they're offering at, right now. And spoke about how many people, how many coaches they had in the peer recovery program, how many average crisis calls they're making per month. I have 3 highlighted items. And the role of the youth mentor, the youth sorry. It is their
There
new.
we go. Dorothy, may I ask, is it the Lindsay Pikus New Year, New You article?
It is. No,
Okay, I'll drop.
it's Fairwinds growing to meet island's mental health needs.
Yeah. The February
When was
15th.
this in the paper? Was it last week?
Friday,
Here, I'm-
February 16th.
Linda, there's a link for it in chat.
So
That's
they,
too much technical for me.
their
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
the average crisis calls they actually have is between 20 and 30 a month. The getting to the 50 was 1 month during the summer. So the problem that exists in a lot of these, it also speaks about how many peer recovery coaches they have and the fact that they have 4 full-time. They do not have 4 full-time. They have 1 full-time. They have 2 part-time that are actually clinicians as well, and 1 other part-time peer recovery coach. It also speaks about that they have this youth, it's called a youth, sorry, my glasses and the paper are really small right now. It's a youth coach, it's a youth mentor, youth peer counselor that's supposed to bring people through teenage to adulthood. The problem is that this person is not certified to do so, cannot do this transition. And so what I would like is some of the information clarified, because some of the grant that we're proposing or the money we're proposing is being proposed on the information brought forward to them by them to us. It does not coincide with the information brought here, nor does it coincide. The crisis that they're seeing does not coincide with any information the police or fire department have or what's happening. And so when we look at this article, what I'm asking for them is for them to make a clarification on the information that was put out in this paper. You don't have 4 full-time peer recovery coaches, right? And we're looking at, when it looks at why we're funding programs and how we're funding programs, it doesn't jive with information given to us, and it is not accurate information. And I think it's important as we're going through this process, because there's going to be questions on how we funded some of these programs. And this clearly is a misrepresentation of the information given to us and the information that is actually out there. And I think that's very important. Even if it's just an email to them, asking them to make a clarification on all this information, because it isn't right, guys.
I don't necessarily trust the paper to get accurate information.
But they're quoting people and they're quoting information in this article that goes out to the general public. And so I personally, when I read it, I was like, well, that doesn't jive with anything. And I did some research. I found out how many crisis calls that they're making out of the, that they're getting. And this information doesn't jive. So I just feel that a letter even to them requesting they fix this information is not inappropriate.
I don't think we have any right to tell them to fix the information in a newspaper article. I don't. That's way
Yeah.
overreaching.
When
Right.
they put it out there to the general public? Jericho,
Yeah, I don't think we have any right to say anything about that. We have a right to ask them to clarify the information they gave to us based on what it was. But I'm not going public with that.
I think we have an obligation to point out all the mistruths in that article.
We don't know that they're
Wait,
mistruths.
Jericho. I'll call you Jericho in a minute, okay? Well, I can get you the information to prove that the crisis calls have not been at the level that they're saying. They do not have that support staff. They do not have 4 full-time employees working in peer recovery. So
is
it's-
the premise here is that Fairwinds is publicly lying about their staffing levels in the paper?
what I'm saying is that this information does not jive with the information we have. And what I would ask for is how does this information in this article jive with information given to us? Because it doesn't jive with any of it. And
Well,
what
then we have a right to ask them.
what I can tell you is that's what I said to them. that I'm asking them to clarify the information within this article. I said an email to Fair Winds requesting this information, and if it's incorrect, to have it fixed in the paper. And one of the reasons this is not good is I can tell you there's going to be a good chance they're going to question this funding on the town floor. And if this information's out there as stated, and it is inaccurate information, we have a right to ask for what the accurate information is. And if if you all don't agree with me, that's fine. But I think that when we've seen this before, and I think it's very important that any organization gives accurate information to the community. And it's totally, if you look at what's presented to us and you took any notes, it does not jive with any of the information given to us. So that was the discussion I wanted to have. Veronica?
Dorothy, I think it's appropriate for us to ask them to clarify because the numbers are different than what we based our deliberations on. And to have clarification to us, what we do then with their response or what we ask is then, I think, another discussion. But I think that it is appropriate to send something to them that we've read this and it doesn't match up with the information that we base decisions on.
Right. I think it's important. I think it's important that we know it.
I
Anybody
think
else?
it's overstepping. I think it's overstepping to tell them to correct it in the paper. They can correct it with us. Either way, whichever one is correct.
But if it
But I
is,
don't think we have any right to ask them to do anything in a newspaper. That's overstepping. They need to correct the information with us, which one is correct.
okay, but when you have that information out there, how do you get the general public, if that information is incorrect, how do you get something that's written in an article corrected? Because it is.
That's
you
not
know,
up to us.
It just, wait a minute, okay? Huh? It is up to us if we're the ones that know the information.
We could
They have
potentially
to deal with
send a
it the way
letter
they have
in.
to deal with it, or they jeopardize their funding. We're not telling them how to correct it. We're not telling them what to do. We're asking them for
need
the
to tell them-
clarification on the information.
Right. I guess what we do is let's get a clarification and let's have a discussion after the clarification of the information on where we go from there.
So when I reach out to Fairwinds to clarify on this point, we're looking specifically for which points of data to compare about.
I will send you the information with it earmarked on the report as to why and where the information reported by them to us is different.
Because if this is true, we should just not accept grant requests from them. If they're like, if you feel so strongly, like this is, it's a big.
Well, the point I think is gonna be is did they actually say that, or did the the person writing the article for the paper screw it up? Because I've given information printed out and everything to that newspaper, and they still screw it up when they print it.
That's my
Or-
point too, Bert.
Or the question is somebody that's doing their public information not accurately, doesn't have the accurate information in front of them, like accurate understanding. You know, you can say we have four full-time peer recovery coaches when actually they're not. And what I just want is a clarification of the information, because I think that what we've seen this happen before is that we will make decisions based on information given to us, and people might not like what the outcome is. And we've had this happen before, where information is put out to the public that doesn't jive with information given to us. I feel that it's okay to say, okay, an article came out, but that didn't jive with what was presented to us a week prior to this coming out. And there's nothing wrong with us saying that to the organization that has presented the information, because now we're seeing two different sets of information. One that was presented to us, one that's presented to the general public. And I think that we have a right for clarification. And I think after we get the clarification, we can, as a group, discuss what we have found to be the the clarification of the information brought forward.
The absolute most that this organization could do as a part of that is consider it for the next year's evaluation and then write a letter to the editor of the Inky with
Correct.
the content that they have. But
We can't tell them that. We
Yeah.
can decide what the information is and how it jives between the paper and here, and I have a feeling the paper is incorrect. But I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt, but they really do need to clarify what we have been told versus what was reported in the paper. And
Right.
that's the full extent of what we're asking them.
That's what I'm asking them for, is a clarification of the information inside of this, in an email to them, a letter to Fair Winds requesting the response come back to the CRC.
I would like that letter workshopped by the committee. Like
What?
I'd like I would like a draft.
The letter would never go out without approval from the committee. It never has gone out. Nothing has ever gone out to them, to anybody when we've done this in the past. And we
But
have.
we
in the
have
past.
pretty regularly sent out letters that we have not looked at ahead of time or
Absolutely.
workshopped.
Absolutely.
What do you mean, letters that have gone out without?
We
I've
have
been contacts with various organizations without the rest of us having seen anything first or the rest of us even knowing about it until after the fact. So yes, I understand the request from him for the rest of all of us to see it first.
But no letter like this has gone out to an organization that hasn't come forward. Okay, Jericho.
I mean, I
We
just,
just
I
said
don't
that-
know what,
that's
I don't know
what-
what to say.
I just
That's
think
my
that-
main concern here.
I just think that if we could draft a letter that'll go out and let's get it approved, okay? Nobody's saying that I wanted permission to write a letter. Let's get it drafted and let's get it approved and we'll move from there.
And that letter is asking them for clarification from information they gave us and what appeared in the paper, because there's a discrepancy in numbers, and we used their numbers to base our decisions on, our deliberation. And that would be just a clarification.
Correct. A clarification on the facts within this article to what we were presented in our presentation a week prior to this.
I would include the specific references or the article with it.
Yep, I have them highlighted and marked so that we could see them, so. Jericho, I'll get it to you and then send it out with what the questions, what the things are, so everybody can see what they are highlighted within this article. And,
And don't get me wrong, Dorothy, I'm concerned about this. Like if they're reporting one set of facts publicly and another set to us also publicly and on the record, that's not
Not a good
great.
thing.
Yeah,
No.
like I'm
so I would just like to get a clarification. We'll send it, if everybody's okay with this, it'll go out. If we can make a vote on it, we'll go out. I will send this information, Jericho, when I get back on island with where it's the pinpoints of what they're stating and what actually is as we know it to be. And some of the information with the follow-up of where I got what the numbers were from for you, so that you have an idea. And then we'll compose a letter just asking, it'd be very simple. Could this be clarified in paragraph so-and-so, this is stated. It doesn't coincide with information we've gotten in this paragraph. These three things please be clarified for us?
yeah, I think that's perfectly normal.
Could somebody,
Can I make a motion to draft a communication to Fair Winds for clarification of an article that appeared in the Inky on such and such a date, along with the numbers that we were given in their presentation?
do I have a second?
Second,
Okay. Veronica,
I,
Bert,
Aye.
Dorothy, I.
Are we done with the matter?
no, I didn't vote. You didn't
Oh,
ask me.
I'm sorry, Linda.
Sorry, Linda, I'm sorry, Linda, I thought I had, I'm sorry.
Aye.
Okay. Um. Next thing on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. I mean, the report. It does need some grammar. Ha. But I think I did a much better job with my editing and grammar this time on my own. I do want to say that the graph that went out, we had a graph given to us, Jericho,
Mhm.
on the funding. And in the full request for for fiscal year 2024 in the funding by the chart, just so you know, the cannabis was added into the
the
numbers
numbers,
that I had in front of me. So I had to, I had to clarify, but so that we should probably have those numbers just separate, not into that same. Do you know what I mean? Like if it went to
The,
Fair Winds, in the recommendations, funding recommendations that we used, that we were looking at, there were some errors, but one of the big ones was like, when I looked at Fair Winds, I was like, we didn't give them that much money last year. And it was 150,000. We didn't give
yeah,
them
because they've been combined. That's correct.
because it was combined. So just so that we all know that, that
We-
was, so, that there were
Yes.
these little errors that we should probably just keep an eye on when we're sending it out this way to us. Because I sort of tried to pull it off of there and was like, wait a minute, this isn't making sense.
On the historical funding, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Are we supposed to be voting on a document we just received, like, in the last 10 minutes?
No,
We just need to, it's a draft document that you have in front of you. It is not the final document. It should say draft on it. I can't do that from my thing, Jericho.
I gotcha. I think I can add it in.
I would like to get them before the meeting, before the meeting, if you want us to vote on it.
Yes, and Linda, I sent it out when I finished it yesterday, or Saturday night. And sorry, I think, with Jericho getting into the office on Monday, it didn't get out to everybody. So I apologize for that. I was hoping that it would make its way there. I can't personally send it out to you, like all of you, or I would have sent it out on Saturday to all of you.
Yeah, and I could have sent it out. I got it Saturday night and then started looking at it Sunday morning and I didn't send it out.
So I apologize. So really what you're doing is it's a draft report. What we normally do is, we say that it's a draft report. It's with the recommendations in it that we are making. That's key. But if you want to take a few minutes and just, I don't think it's a very long read. Or is it?
It's
I mean, it is.
16 pages.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
I'm
does
reading
take-
that now.
It does take some time, and I thought about, we could read it in this meeting, but I don't know if that's sufficient use of time. I can say, Dorothy had sent it to me sent it to Jericho, and I had a chance to look at it. What it does include is the process we went through, including how we came up deliberation, which is important, I think, to state in this document. It also states the increased population and potential needs on the island that leads to potential needing more money for human services grants. And it described each program and what we are recommended for funding. So I thought it was extremely comprehensive. And as a draft, I think that it's certainly appropriate to approve it. But I had the chance to read this earlier. So I think everyone should have an opportunity to read it.
I'm not gonna do that now.
Did, Dorothy, I'm sorry, did this get to finance yet? I can, Maria was asking, and I can forward over our recommendations over.
You can, I did not send it to, I
Okay.
did not send it to anybody because it wasn't, in draft form. It always gets approved first in draft form before it gets sent to anybody. Recommendations can be sent, But-
That's all. I'm just gonna pass that along because they were asking.
but the key is that this report sometimes supports the reason why we're asking everybody for the funding. So I guess it's, if anybody, if we want to take a few minutes and read it, or whether you want to make a motion in a draft form.
What kind of motion? I want to read it, but I'm not gonna read it right this second.
Well, just that at the moment, the recommendations, and you're accepting the report in the draft form to be edited. With the recommendations that are enclosed in it. Or
Well, you
summarize.
can't do that unless I can't approve a draft form unless I've read it.
And it was, I could have sent it out earlier. Apologies.
I don't know how does everybody else feel about it, Bert?
Yeah, I'd like to read it first. And I want 50 new lashes with a wet noodle on, you know who, for not sending it out to us on Sunday.
Sue?
Minus the 50 lashes, I agree with Bert and Linda. I'm all for staff getting Sundays off.
Okay, well, then it sits on nothing made on it.
You schedule another meeting just to deal with that.
When does finance need this information?
The
Well,
recommendations last week.
Finance usually has the report by last Thursday, but I'm gonna be honest with everybody, on vacation, I spent 2 days in my hotel room and didn't do anything with anybody, and then every single time I was in a car or sitting, been up till 3 a.m. working on it. It's not like I didn't put the time in to try to get this done, and did a lot of research prior to my departure from the island to get this.
And that's very much appreciated, Dorothy.
So I apologize that it wasn't out, along with this cannabis one, which I'm very confident in the cannabis report and the information that is going to come forward in that report too, from the research and work that I've done to get it there. So, and I apologize for that. And I've I haven't, I had a very short time to get a lot done and a lot of research to back to what I want to put out there. There's a lot of information, and a lot of reading that goes into each report. I find a lot of interesting stuff out there, let me tell you. And interesting ways that Nantucket is recognized in different things when you don't know it. So if we're just gonna leave it like that, we'll leave it like that, and we're not gonna make any motion on that. In other business, I did have one other thing I wanted to bring up. When my research for and I don't, Sue, I want you to be actively involved in this. I'm not sure that you can, but I wanted to discuss this, is that, when reviewing information to do the cannabis report, I read a lot of articles on peer recovery, and I was interested in how much peer recovery coaches get paid. And I took the hours that we got billed for in the last quarter after reading everything, and the amount of visits. And it broke down to a tremendous amount of money, $150.18 per visit that was being, and we don't know how long those visits are. But I then reached out to Jericho and asked Jericho if he could please reach out to Fairwinds to see what they actually paid their peer recovery coaches. And the peer recovery coaches get paid $30 to $32 an hour. And that's a big difference from the 150. If we break down everybody working, if they were even working the 3 hours with somebody at a shot, they're not doing peer recovery as a part-time job. It's basically would become a full-time job. Even that doesn't make sense. I would like to have a better breakdown on what we're at. I just feel the number. There's a question on how much they're billing us to, what are we actually paying for? It just comes out, and I just think that it's something that we should look at. Because when we're getting billed, when you look at the hours and the visits and then the total amount of money, it is a very, very interesting. And I just think that it's worth everybody sort of looking at and maybe thinking about and coming back to a further discussion on that. And that just came from reading tons of articles about peer recovery coaches. And I was like, oh wow, well, we paid $22,000 for the last quarter. How does that pan out? So I think it's worth us, us doing a little reading on our own about it and looking at it. And Jericho, I sort of would like to know more about what we're actually paying for when you break it down, because even at 3 hours, if somebody spent 3 hours each visit, which doesn't tend to be it, and and I did reach out to people in the peer recovery program to sort of find out how long are your visits? What are your time frames to get an idea? I just would think I'd like to know, are we paying for anything other than the peer recovery coach? Even if we're paying for some administration, it seems like a lot of money per hour or per, let's not call it per hour, per, visit or per interaction. And I would just like a better idea of what we're actually paying for in that. I can't hear Veronica.
We have approved this quarterly report,
Mhm.
and I assume that monies have been paid out. I think that we need to have clarification maybe moving forward, because I don't know, or asking again, clarification on the 22,000 and how it was broken down, or what the hourly rate on a peer recovery coach is.
Yeah, we got the information on the recovery coach. We did ask how much that they get paid an hour. And I think it's fair to ask on the breakdown, because when I looked at the quarterly report, and it does say it doesn't break down anything really more than the visits within the contacts. I think it's called contacts that they put in there. And I'm just asking that because I think it's important that we understand what are we actually, are we paying for more than just the peer recovery coach? And is the administration that much money to administrate this? I think it's a fair question to ask, because I think it's a fair question to ask, to have a better breakdown of that's a lot of money when you look at it. And I looked at it like nationwide, and what are they paying and what are people getting paid? And of course they're getting paid more here because the cost of living is more, and recruiting help, because, to get somebody to invest can cost more, of course. And I think that we look at that and we all understand that. I'm not disagreeing with any of that. I'm looking at it and really saying, and I'm saying to change anything that's out there we've already approved. I'd like just a better breakdown or better understanding, and maybe even Jericho, that we get to see what the contracts actually say within that peer recovery program as to what we're funding. But I thought, looking at it, that we were just funding the peer recovery coaches. And
We were funding the peer recovery program.
okay, but let's get can we get an idea or a breakdown on where that is?
We have asked Fairwinds for several times as much information as any other contributing organization.
Okay, I'm just putting out to everybody that in reading it, it boils down to, even looking at what they get per hour, there's a question, it brings up a question, and I'm just, whether or not, if I came up with something else, I'd ask it in something else too, Jericho. I'm just looking at it and saying, it's interesting when you go out and read some of the stuff on peer recovery throughout the country, and I just think it's valuable for us to have a better understanding of what now we know what the peer recovery coach is getting, right? We did ask that question, and I asked that question for the idea of how does it fit in with the rest of the country? Where do we stand? And then I found it just extremely interesting that those numbers were so different, and it's a high number. And I know it's a lot to ask of anybody, but there are times that when we've asked the food pantry one year for a ton of questions because questions came up. And it's just a question that I see. And I would like just a better breakdown on it. Veronica?
I'm thinking of the grants we just approved, and in the grant applications, there has been a breakdown of administration cost, et cetera. And I'm thinking Sherburne Commons, and we did question, the percentage or the amount that community school was charging to oversee it. So we had visibility there. So maybe that's what we would like to ask in the future on this. A complete breakdown of what the cost is. And, if it is that, the information that they've given is appropriate, then, we've got to believe them, and that's it. But asking for an administrative cost breakdown is, I think, appropriate. But of course, that's going forward. We're not going to go back on this. This is for
No.
next quarterly reports, and can we? And Dorothy, if I can ask Jericho, is it appropriate that we, in the quarterly report, ask for a more specific breakdown?
I mean, if it's the concern is that there is no standardized reporting form and no standardized level of detail necessary. So one of the things, and I hate to be a broken record about this, is that one of the things I'm looking for out of this consultancy is just such a reporting document. We can build into fiscal year 25 when we do the agreements that we would like some degree of breakdown on that. But we grade on a program level. We don't get this granular. If this is a concern and this is something that needs to be built in, that we need to have a ratio of administrative cost to service provision, then we have to think very carefully about that as part of like a process of revision, and then we can implement it. But there's not an equivalency across agencies here, nor do I see how there could be, because the work that Fairwinds does is significantly more complicated than many of the other organizations. And there's a lot more administrative costs because they deliver services on island, which means that they have to have their admin on island. I mean, we can ask clarifying information, certainly, but like we have to be very specific about it beforehand and then ask the same information of all people so that everyone is operating under the same circumstances.
Right.
I'm fine with that. I think that if you were to read and see and look at it, it would bring up questions to anybody if you're looking at the financial breakdown on it. So I'm just putting it out there to everybody. I think it's, very interesting. That's. Okay. Think that's it. Veronica?
Um, it appears we need to have another meeting, and question, I know Dorothy, you're still out and about, but could we schedule a meeting when we have the cannabis report and in advance, and then an ability to read this, and then we can just vote on both?
I think
So-
it would be great.
Um,
And I will pass along any report I get as soon as I get it.
so when would be an appropriate time to schedule a meeting?
What's our next scheduled meeting is on. Sorry, I just have to look.
Yeah, I'm looking also, and
I see the 18th as our next meeting.
March 18th at 10 a.m. Right?
That's what I have.
What date is that?
that's a Monday. 2 weeks,
18th?
2 weeks from today. Is that too late?
I think
For
it, I think that, if we could put something in for next Monday, we would be, if that's possible, Jericho. We should-
I will see what I can do on that front. That means agenda must be posted by Thursday at 10 a.m.
Yeah,
Oh.
can you see if we
Oh,
can?
Monday, that's right, it's Monday.
That's if you're trying to do, if we're shooting for the 11th.
Correct. And the agenda be very simple. It's just gonna be the quorum, establish a quorum, approval of agenda, approval of reports, adjournment.
I will check to see if we can get it in at 10 o'clock on the 11th.
Will you let everybody know?
Yes.
Do we have an exact time for presentation with FinCom? Because I haven't gotten anything.
No. What was the last one from her was inbox? It was from Maria, I believe.
I don't know. I didn't get anything, so.
Finance department. What is it? FinCom. Just give me 1 second. I want to say it's this week.
I think it's tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I think they
FinCom.
only do Zoom. Am I correct?
I know that they have they have there it is. No, wait, that's the wrong FinCom meeting. I can't tell you at this moment.
Okay, I just sent a text to Brian Turbert to ask him, see if I can get a response.
Yeah, Basheva. FinCom the 27th. Nope. Who does the I never go there, so.
The invite usually comes from them, or I usually get it from Denise, if not, and he said he just told me, he didn't just tell me. In a previous message, he had told me that we were on for the 5th of March.
Yeah, I
But I-
remember when they
all the
invited
time.
us and then they rescheduled us.
They reschedule us for March 5th.
Yeah. But they haven't sent me the invite yet. Do.
I haven't gotten anything. I usually get something from Denise Cronin inviting me.
Yeah, and it should be. Oh, February 22nd was original. Then it was reshuffled to Article 9 for March 5th. And then I'll find the agenda here real quick. We can present our recommendations ahead of the approved.
I will make that's what I have done that. I will do that.
Yeah, I think that's March 5th. It is at 4 p.m. Trailer A or remote participation.
Oh, okay.
And I'll forward you this agenda right now here, Dorothy.
Okay, thank you.
Oops, that's not, I don't want to go to diagrams.net. Apologies,
I can't hear you, Jericho.
I'm going to mute up while I do that. Carry on, sorry.
Okay. So, it'll all rely on, so let's see if Jericho can get us that time frame for next Monday at 10 a.m. Is there anything else? Is anybody else going to show up at this meeting? This presentation?
Some of us always try to go. I don't know, are they meeting in person or just on Zoom?
Well, he just said that it's in the trailer, at
Okay.
4 o'clock, trailer A tomorrow at 4 o'clock. And,
I have HDC.
okay,
I'm flying tomorrow at that time.
okay. And it's available Zoom if anybody wants to watch via Zoom. This,
How are you thinking, Dorothy? Are you going to go in person or you? I mean, it's right next door for me, so I can go either way.
I will usually will go in person if it's available. I think it makes a bigger impact when we're in person than when
Okay.
we're and I will get this today on my ride down. I will get the article cleaned up, the cannabis one cleaned up. And because it's all written, so right now it just has to be cleaned up and the numbers put into the chart, the new numbers put into the chart. So you all Jericho should have it before 4 o'clock today. And you guys should have it out to you, the cannabis one.
Well, here's a question on the report and our allocations.
Mhm.
If we are questioning Fairwinds, how quickly can we get an answer before we put our stuff out in the public?
It would probably be fair to say it would take them a day or so to be fair, to have that question be brought up and it go to whoever's in charge, to then give us an answer, I think it would, they have a new interim director. I think he would probably reference his staff and come back at us with a response. So I would think it would be fair to say a day or two for them to do that. I mean, I think we've made our recommendations. I think the reason I wanted this known to everybody was more to the fact that if in fact, there's a question regarding how much has been funded or a request on town floor, that we have an accurate information in front of us. We've already made our recommendations. And I just think that we should have accurate information in case that comes forward. It's come forward before for us when we have done the work and done a lot of work, and done a lot of research and had a lot of backup work. And then people have gotten up on town floor and actually haven't had the correct information. And you can't really rebuttal it, especially if it's out there, once it goes out there. So I think it's important that we just understand it. And understand, just have a better idea. The information doesn't jive for us. So I think we've made our recommendations. Am I correct, everybody, that the recommendations are there? And we believe in the programs that it's not whether we don't believe in the program and what the value of the program is, because I think we all would say that we totally agree in the value of the program and what it brings to the community. It's a clarification in case it comes down the pike at us, and a clarification of information brought forward to us. I think it's really important that we have a better understanding of the information. But I don't know how everybody else feels about that.
I agree, Dorothy.
Okay, Veronica?
I agree also, but I also think that if the numbers are larger than what we have seen, it's a reason for getting more money from the town going forward. It's one of the reasons that we need to have increased funding, so we can best support the programs that are out there.
Right, because if the numbers are that different than what they've given us, then it does give us support to actually go forward too. And if the numbers don't jive, it can bring into question reporting. So I think there's a lot out there, and I just would like to get some clarification for us on the whole over. So Linda, I'm not quite sure, I don't think it's changing our recommendations are at this moment. I just think it's very important that we have some clarified information.
I just want to make sure that's what we were doing, is we were staying with what we did and not trying
Yeah.
to reorganize it.
We're not trying to reorganize anything. What's been voted upon is voted upon, and it's going forward as is. We want clarification on information. And I think if it, and we move from there, like we said, we go into discussion, after we get the clarified information brought forward to us.
And
Um,
hopefully we could have that by next Monday, so we could add that onto our agenda if that's possible.
I will see about, I'm looking in the Zoom thing now to see if there's an opening on any of these accounts on
Monday?
March 11th. A Zoom only meeting looks like it could happen.
Yeah, it would be Zoom only, Jericho. I don't think there's any need. I don't think we have to get together.
But I genuinely don't know. So we were gonna do a letter that we were gonna workshop first to send to Fairwinds so that we would all be asking the same questions on that.
Right, you're gonna get that, but this is,
But then we wouldn't have workshopped it together.
no, you're gonna get the draft questions on it. We can work on it on Monday if you want to, but it's not changing what we're doing right now. Okay? So that what we're talking about is Monday being right now is the approval of these reports. They will go out to everybody. Everybody has it in front of them. That's here, has it. You've sent it, the first one to everybody. The second
Mhm.
one, like I said, should be in your hands by 4 o'clock this afternoon. And then you can take that information, send it out to everybody. People can give the editing, people can come forward with, if their grammar changes and stuff, they can let us know where they see those. And we will have on next Monday, hopefully the approval of both of the reports. So
Okay, I just wasn't sure if we were hoping to get a respect back from Fairwinds by next Monday. I must have just misunderstood.
No,
I misunderstood that.
no, not at all.
Yeah.
But we'll get that letter. I'm saying that would take you would have to assume it will take a couple of days once a letter goes out to get any kind of response anyway. It's fair to give them a couple of days to give us a response. Okay, and Jericho, I'll get you that information that coincides with why they're questions.
Mhm.
And go from there. And can I get a motion?
Motion to adjourn,
Second,
Okay, Veronica,
right?
Bert,
aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Linda,
Aye.
thanks, guys. Oh, aye. Thank you.